Current state of the Mavs. Luka's coming up on year 6. It seems like it's gone by fast. Last year he was 32, 8-8. Unfortunately, you guys missed the playoffs. What have you seen? What do you love about him, and what are you looking for? The leap, what leap are you looking for in him in year 6?
Well, you know what it's like. I think, who was it? Jokic said, first you got to be bad, then you got to get good, then you got to get humbled, then you get good again, right? And I think that's what's happened to us before. Like when we got beat in 2006-07 by Golden State, right? Humbled the shit out of us, and that put us back on a mission. It took us a few years to get there, but I think the same things happen with Luka. He's obviously a top 3 talent in the NBA, and sometimes things come easy, and then you got to learn what it takes. And I think last year humbled all of us, and Luka's come back with a vengeance. He worked hard this summer. He when things don't go well, you get a better understanding of the game. When things are going well, it's easy.
Right.
It's when things don't go well that you find out who you are, who your teammates are, who the organization is. And I think Luka, more than any of us, really took that to heart. His leadership skills have improved. His communication skills have improved. He's learned from Dirk, you got to add something to your game every summer, and he's done that. So, all the pieces that you need to do to be a champion, I think he's pulled those pieces together.
I want to back up a little bit. When did he get on your radar? Because obviously you guys make a trade draft day for him. When did you guys start hearing about him or knowing about him?
Shoot, when a kid's 13 and he goes to play in Europe against grown men, you hear about it, right? And then you kind of question it. It's like, okay, it's Europe, you don't really know. And then the scouts were saying, look, there's a 16-year-old dude, 17-year-old kid that's playing against OKC, and he's fearless.
Cooking.
Yeah, just fearless. And so then we started really paying attention. And it was interesting because, our scouts liked him. Our analytics guys loved him, right? The scouts said, okay, they had 8 and number 1. Our numbers guys are like, this is the only superstar in the draft.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was really the impetus. And, that trade, we tried and tried and tried, and it was like 15 minutes to go before our pick. And I called the owner at Atlanta. I'm like, you're on picking, Luka, and you know the guy you want. So let's just do this deal because he'll be there for you. We'll give you a pick. And, instead of the general managers messing around, let's just get this done. Right. And so we got it done.
You mentioned something interesting because I've always kind of been, maybe I don't know the game or business enough from this standpoint, but how much of it is analytics and how much of it is the eye test with scouting when you guys look at a player? Okay.
It's both. And, analytics folks have got their perspective, and then you've got to have the eye test because some guys, they show up, the numbers are great, right? Particularly coming out of college. And when you just watch them, they're not quick enough. They played, they're 26 years old, right?
Right.
And there's just things like that. But with Luka, it wasn't, he's not the world's greatest shooter. He's not a pure shooter, but he's a killer. And there's not a lot of guys that have that killer instinct that aren't afraid of any moment and want that moment.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part to recognize that the analytics don't tell you.
Yeah. I'll take a guy that can hit a shot anywhere on the court than a pure shooter any day.
Yeah, right?
A one-hand 3.
Yeah, that was the most insane thing I've ever seen, man. The stuff like we were playing New York last year here, and we're down, and he had to miss the free throw, right, in order to give us a shot.
He got the rebound.
Got the rebound in a one motion, put it up. I mean,
you can practice that 100 times.
It won't happen. It won't happen, right?
Right.
Incredible. This offseason, Kyrie Irving, 3 years, 126.
Yep.
What was the negotiations like with him, and what is your relationship with him? Obviously, he gets a hard, he
gets a bad rap
for, stuff sometimes out of control. Sometimes it's just him being him. But what has your relationship and experience been with him since he's been
here? I love him. I mean, it wasn't really much of a negotiation. It was like, tell us when you're ready, right? And, you got to, talk to other people, do what you got to do. But we're here ready for you. And I love Kai. I say this all the time. Kai's the dude that you become friends with in college that when you're sitting around in the dorm room, or just chilling in your place, he's going to get into a deep conversation no matter what. Yeah. You could all be talking sports and Kai's going to ask you, what's this really mean? Yeah. What's this really mean to you? What's in your heart? And as long as you're cool with that, which I am, and J Kidd is, and the guys are, he's easy, because his heart's always in the right place. Now, you might not agree with him all the time. Right. There might be takes that he has that you're like, okay, Kai.
And that's okay.
That's okay. Like that's I told him on vaccines, we would have had an issue, right? But hopefully that never comes up again, and we've talked about like, look, there's going to be stuff we disagree with, and as long as we respect each other, that's fine, and I respect him, not just his talent on the court, but how he connects to people off the court and how he connects to other players. You see it all the time. Guys will swap jerseys, they know each other. Kai comes up, it's not about the jersey swap. He gives you a grandma hug, right? It's like the hug your grandma gives you that that there's more than just a little connection there. There's a deep connection there. And so, most people aren't used to that. Most people don't understand that. And so I like Kai a lot.
I love him. I go to war for him a lot, through a lot of stuff. And I think what I love about him most is he loves people. Like he cares about people.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I mean? Regardless where they at, like just he'll walk outside and see a homeless person to go over there and sit down and talk to him. Like he cares about people. And you don't have too many people, especially athletes of our caliber, that humble themselves to take their time to care about people.
100%.
They think it's all about us. It's all about us.
But also he does a lot of stuff and it's not for the attention.
At all.
He takes care of people and donates and does all this shit and there's not cameras on him when
somebody reached out to me and it was an Indian basketball team and they needed some money. And I'm like, and I just texted him like, Kai, I'm putting in half. You want to cover the other half?
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
That's dope.
Yeah, and didn't think twice, just done.
Yeah, that's real. That's beautiful.
Outside of health, one thing you feel like your team needs to do to be in contention for the championship this year?
I think just a little bit of time to figure out everybody's role. Last year we struggled with roles, right? Different people wanted different things than what J. Kidd had established. I think now we've got the roles. The hardest part for us is going to be rotations because we've got a lot of depth. And two, just getting D. Lively and Omax some run so they get a little bit more comfortable, because you can't be a rookie, come in and just all of a sudden be the guy, right, and know exactly what to do. You got to go through those ups and downs.
He's showing a lot of signs, though.
Oh, no, boy.
Well, we
thank you.
We talked to Tyson Chandler about him before he ended up coming back, and he was saying, like, I guess, did he say you or someone said there's a kid over here that kind of reminds us a little bit of you, and we would love for you to come back. But yeah, he's been.
J. Kidd reached out to him, because he's a baby Tyson. He's even got the same shit to him, right? Tyson, quiet, laid back, but when he dunks on you, he's a mean dunker, right? And so D. Live has got the same thing. Omax is getting there.
Well, current day, you joined the Mavs player development staff in 2021, working alongside God, Sham God. Obviously J. Kidd, our guy Jared Dudley. What has that experience been like on the coaching side now?
It's been great. It's a learning lesson. It's definitely an adjustment, from playing and then learning how to articulate your thoughts and things that you learned along the years that came naturally, like trying to explain it to somebody. So it's fun. It keeps me involved with the game. I honestly thought when I was done, I was like, when I hang them up, that's it. I'm out of here. Right. And then I did that for a little while, but then I started to miss the game. I started to miss just being around guys, and the camaraderie. So when J. Kidd got the job, he hit me up and was like, listen, come on, I need you. Just get in the building.
Man.
That's dope.
Yeah. You was the anchor of the championship squad. Come fuck with us. Yeah. So did you ever see yourself coaching? Like I've been offered a couple situations too. I just never saw myself in it. Did you see yourself possibly one day?
No, not at all. Not at all. And even, when you say, I was like, okay, just let me come in, just get a feel and see how this is. Coaching is a dedication. They spend a lot of hours, more than any players in there. They got to
we can turn it off as players. Like
exactly,
as coaches,
ain't no cutting it off.
Yeah.
They're constantly working on the next thing, film, breaking down things. It's 24/7.
Can you tell us a little bit about Dereck Lively? You guys took him 12 overall. What have you liked so far about him?
He's active, very athletic young kid. Reminds me of myself a lot. He reminds me. The funny thing, Jason, when I came to the gym the day after he had the workout, pre-draft workout, and J. Kidd was like, man, I wish you'd have came yesterday. He was like, there's a kid that we thinking about taking that reminds me a lot of like you. He's like, and not just because he light skinned, but like he got I start busting up laughing. He's like he got a lot of the same attributes. And then so as the draft was coming along, I watched a little bit of tape and I'm like, I hope they get this kid. It'll give me something to do, like a real,
project.
a project to work on.
Yeah.
So I'm watching the draft, and as that draft is unfolding, I'm like, they're gonna take this kid. And then they take him. Then I get to meet him and stuff. And he's a great dude.
That's something y'all need, though.
They definitely need it. That's always been the missing key for the Mavs, and so I'm trying to get him right. He wants to learn, he's active, and right now, he's sponge.
Let's get right to it. Fresh off the Western Conference appearance, great run by your team. Love the way you've pretty much ingrained defense into your guys' identity now. Tell us about that process and then just the run you guys made this season.
Yeah, I think this is my third time back in Dallas. So, being drafted and then being able to win a championship in Dallas and then, come back and coach,
Right.
I think as players, we never think about coaching. We're just thinking about getting numbers and winning. And so to be able to go back where it all started is surreal. So, my press conference, Dallas is known to be a team that likes to score, and I wanted to kind of change that theme and talk about defense. And I know a lot of people were questioning, are the Mavs going to really play defense because they're going to put the ball in the basket? Right. And so to win championships or to win any level, you got to play both sides of the ball. And so that was what I wanted to try to get across. And somehow, some way, we found a way to do it.
How long did you feel like that process was? Because again, like I said, that's not a model of a typical Dallas team. How long did you feel like, okay, these guys are starting, the light's starting to come on?
I thought around Christmas. I've always believed this. As a player, you find out who you are by Christmas. As much as you want to come out of the gates and win and make every shot, I think when you're a veteran, you find out, okay, this is who we are this year. Every year is going to be different. But by Christmas, I think you really find out who you are. And I thought, right around Christmas, the start of the new year, we saw the defense go up, and we took off. And it started with our best player, Luka. I asked him to participate, fight, and he did that. And so when your best player does it, it's easy to talk to everybody else about doing it.
Talk to us a little bit about Luka. We're going to get into him a little bit later, but since you mentioned him, just what kind of player, person, and is there a ceiling for someone as talented as him?
No.
Yeah, Jack answered the question for me. When you look at the ceiling, the sky's the limit. He can fly 40,000, 50,000.
However high you want to go.
He can until he gets tired. And so when you look at his abilities to control the game offensively, he's only 23 years old.
Baby still. People forget that.
And loves to play the game. And so I'm just lucky to have the opportunity to have a good seat, watch him play,
Right.
and then also just try to help him what I see to make the game with no stress. And that's something that we talk about. If he was sitting right next to me, he would talk about, Coach always talks about no stress. But sometimes, he's a believer that he can take on the world. And, when he hits his stride in the sense of understanding how to use all the pieces, the sky's the limit.
Have you seen that kind of just IQ in someone that, obviously you were a high IQ guy. For someone to be able to do all that he does at his age?
I haven't. When you talk about someone who's played overseas, he's been a pro, 14, 15 years old. You look at what he's picked up from being a pro early on in life. And so he's not afraid. He's seen the double teams, the switches, the box and one. And he believes that he can beat them all, and most of the time he does.
Can, right?
Yes. So I think when you look at what he does, he's different because he has his own speed limit. He's not
can't speed him up neither.
Nope. And I think sometimes what's not talked about is his size. He's big.
Yeah.
He's a big boy, and I've been around LeBron, and he has that LeBronish type, height, thickness, in the sense of being a big boy. He can hold you off. He's not afraid of contact, but he's not afraid of the stage.
Right.
He loves the stage.
The stage is his.
With you knowing, like, okay, you talk about defense, but you knowing how important it was for you to lead on both ends. Like everything starts with the point guard.
Right.
Is he getting that now? Is he getting to that point now?
Yeah, I think we saw it this season. There's times when, as you know, in the NBA, they're going to pick on you.
Yeah.
They're going to pick on the best player if he doesn't want to cooperate or participate playing defense. And so once he understood that if he put up a fight, that he had his teammates had his back and they were behind to support him. Coaches were supportive. We're here as coaches to give you the answers to the test and what's coming. And then it's for you to be able to digest when you see that action coming, like, oh, coach told me this is what they're going to try to do.
You gotta be ready for it.
It makes the game so much easier. So with myself and Luka, we have a great relationship and communication and helping one another. I've been in his shoes, but at 23, he's a little bit advanced of where I was at 23. But he loves to play the game. He loves the competition. He loves that everybody's focused on him to try to stop him. And
they can't.
They try.
They try. Season's over. Great year.
Thank you.
You already ready for next year. Where's your head at now? Like, what are you thinking right after this great year?
Yeah,
of course, losing Brunson.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. But, this is funny you ask that question. You say the nice things. And in this league, that season's over.
Yeah, right. On to the next.
Mean nothing.
Yes, because there's only one winner. Everybody comes in last. And, Golden State won the championship, so everybody else came in last. And so we're just at this beginning of this journey. And we talked about defense. And one of the things that we'll talk about going forward is, can everyone just get better? I'm only asking you to get better at 1%. That's all I'm asking. If you can get better at 1%, it makes our team 15 to 17% stronger.
Yeah.
Right? So take the wins and losses out of it. That means everybody had a good summer. Everybody has a good season.
Luka, he came in your last season. Extremely talented. We talked about off camera. Jack said, did you see this? You're like, I don't know if we saw it to this extent, but he's been special. What is your relationship with him like, and how's it been just being able to see him play night in, night out?
Yeah, so once my end of career wasn't pretty, we were struggling. There was some talk of tanking going on, and just things didn't go well here for this franchise, and we needed a little spark plug to change things. And here I didn't think that was going to be this kid. I didn't think it was going to be this kid. When he walked in the first time here in this practice facility, he looked at he's 6. He's a big boy, but I'm like, I'm not sure this is going to work. Is he quick enough? Is he athletic enough to go by guys like he is in Europe? And so there were plenty of doubts there from everybody on the team. And how you meet already before training camp starts. You meet a month before and you hoop every day and you work out together. And so guys were trying to test him a little bit and foul him a little bit here and there in their scrimmages. And you can already see that this kid's got something about him. He's got that swag. He knows how to play. He was getting some N1 mixtape passes out of nowhere, and I'm like, he was flashing some of the talent. So we were thinking, man, he's going to be a really good player, but I didn't think he was going to go to that level.
Right?
I mean, I think it was last season or the season before, he averaged triple-double for an entire month. I mean, I didn't see that coming. So in my first year, unfortunately, my last year, his first year, I was hurt a lot. I missed the first 30, 40 games. So I didn't really get to spend, I didn't even go on road trips the first couple months. So that was a little tough. I didn't really get to spend as much time around him as I wanted to. But that was his time to shine. We looked to him, and he took the ball and took it from there. And yeah, just really proud of how he developed. And my role with him, I guess we're friends, we're cool, when I'm in town, we go to dinners or whatever. A mentor would be a little strong because he doesn't really need me. I mean, he's as you guys see, he plays like a 32-year-old veteran. How he reads the game, how he carries himself on the court. And I didn't really, I wish I would love to say I helped him and talked to him about it, but it's just, the guy just came, he's been a pro since he's like 11 years old. And that's how he plays the game. Like nothing can rattle him during the game. And he just does his thing. And so his development has been incredible. And I didn't think he could get better from year to year, but he's still showing it. And Super happy for him.
It's funny because I remember first meeting him. That language barrier was hilarious. Hilarious. He can speak way better English now, but he came in right away and like he just like it looked so effortless. Like when my style, I'm like, yo, I gotta come in every day. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta do this, just to make sure that like they just see this man would just come in the gym. They do his work, and when they play pickup, it just looked like he's doing that slow motion, but he's doing whatever he wants. And I'm thinking, I play like my own pace, like I control the game, whatever. I do it a little differently, but his is just on another level. So from day one, I was like, this dude is good. This dude is good. But like also, I'm thinking like damn, this dude is good. Do I belong? Like that's how like the type of doubt that I put in my mind. Like
That's
this
how
dude
good
is,
he
was that good. I came in. You can ask any vet on that team. It was like DeAndre Jordan, Wes Matthews, Harrison Barnes, JJ Barea, Devin Harris. They all said the same thing. The dude just came in and everyone was just like, wow. And just
We
that's
see
when
it.
it started.
Yeah,
We
we
saw
definitely
it.
see it.
Yeah.
Didn't who got drafted in bronze class? Him and Melo, right? Oh, I just wanted to throw that out there.
I'm saying the Mavs personally getting him and Luka in the same draft.
Okay.
Who had a better
there you
draft?
go, Dylan.
But you know, I'm Ron
Explain-
Burgundy. You didn't say that on the
Explain
thing.
your shit, Dylan.
He didn't write it on there though. Who was Luka off the court?
The kid.
Big
Really?
old kid, like
Big
all
kid.
of us.
Yeah, big kid. He's a cool dude. He really likes to just relax and kind of be out of the spotlight, which I like about him. He's not like he doesn't like the attention. Down to earth, chill, just wants to hang out and all that stuff. He's really low key. He's like,
What's one of your favorite stories that you could tell about you and him, or something that happened, or practice, games, travel? Any funny stories with you two?
No 1v1s.
I beat him a couple times.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. And there's evidence too. There's video evidence too. So
Good
I had to throw
1v1.
that. I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah, come on, man.
Some stories on me and Luka. I would say like the longer I was like able to be on the court with him, we gained much more respect. So our friendship grew like that.
Of course.
Like obviously I wasn't playing as much until obviously I got better and better each year. And so man, we used to gamble on the plane, man. We used to gamble on the plane. Play Tonk. But I didn't play Boo-Ray. I didn't play Boo-Ray. I said, no,
That's a whole different
That's
ball
a whole
game.
different ball game. I'm cool.
Boo-Ray,
cool.
have you
Crying.
Yeah,
bro.
we used to play Tonk a little bit. So I'm obviously the lowest paid player at the table. And so, but the one thing about Luka, never pays his bets right away.
You still probably owe some people.
He still owes some people.
Was DJ the dealer? Because DJ cheats. DJ's
Oh,
with
no,
me
I
with
stayed
the
away from
Clippers.
DJ.
DJ was a
I
fucking
didn't play.
card
I didn't play.
cheater.
I didn't play a freshman. I played like freshman. I didn't play my rookie year. I played like
Okay.
closer to like
Little
my
further.
third and fourth year. Yeah.
Okay.
See, we didn't do that. You got to pay up or you get off the plane. They was writing checks on the plane.
But also like it's for the Mavs. I remember how you get like per diem.
Yeah.
We got it on a debit card,
Oh, really?
so we never got cash.
Some
that's
Mark Cuban
G.
shit right there.
Oh, that's G.
We're heading into the final round of the NBA playoffs, and the crown is up for grabs.
There's still plenty of time to get in on the action with our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Right now, all new customers who deposit just $5 will get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500.
Get a bonus bet back in the amount of your original bet if your first bet doesn't hit.
That's right. All new customers who deposit just $5 will get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500.
DraftKings has something for the returning customers as well. Score a no-sweat NBA bet.
If sports betting isn't available in your state yet, don't worry. You can still join in all the fun on DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have a shot to win cash prizes.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code SMOKE, deposit just $5, and get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500.
That's promo code SMOKE, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Between work, social media, and the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder why we're more worked up than ever. Coors Light celebrates the rising above and choosing the chill mindset.
Emotions run hot in the NBA. The key to success, though, is to choose chill and not get too worked up. There's no way you can win the game while you're thinking about the last one.
Here at All the Smoke, we have a combined 210 career technical fouls, so we probably could have chosen to chill a few times during our playing days. But now that we're out of the league, it's the only thing we do. And there's nothing pairs better with choosing to chill than a refreshing taste of Coors Light.
As we head toward the NBA Finals, we want to make sure that our listeners are grabbing every opportunity to choose chill and then reach for a cold, refreshing Coors Light just like we are. How cool is it that the mountains on the bottles and cans turn blue when they are as cold as the Rockies?
When you embrace the chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light.
Make the most of the times you choose chill. Choose Coors Light, straight from Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
You can get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/smoke. Celebrate responsibly. 98 draft, heavy, Bibby, Antoine Jameson, Vince Carter, Paul Pierce, to name a few. What was your draft process like, and did you have to do a bunch of workouts, a couple workouts? How many workouts you do?
So I did actually none. I wasn't
actually.
So at the time, no, I did one. Well, obviously some NBA teams saw me here, and then Donnie Nelson, who was assistant coach here for the Mavs, he was the assistant coach of the Hoop Heroes team that we talked about earlier. So he's obviously seen me up front and close for like a week, and then I did a workout for the Boston Celtics, I think for Rick Pitino somewhere, and he was in Italy on vacation, and so he saw me. I knew Dallas at the 6th pick. I knew Boston at the 10th pick at the time. And but the rest was kind of up in the air because I told everybody I wasn't quite sure if I was ready for it. I told him I might still pull out. I can still go to college. I don't have an agent. I can still stay in Europe. So I didn't even go to the draft. I think our draft at that year was in Toronto. I can't remember, or Vancouver. I think it was in Canada. And I didn't go to the draft because I thought there's no way somebody's actually taking me with that risk of me not showing up and waste the top 10 pick. And so I stayed in Germany. I trained all the way through, and got a call in the middle of the night. Or Holger, my guide, got a call from Donnie in the middle of the night. Said, "Hey, Dallas, we picked you." And we're like, oh, "What?" And sure enough, like literally a day or 2 days later, they flew in. Donnie flew in. Big Nelly, who you guys know, was the coach at the time, and Ross Perot Jr., who was the owner before Cubes. So they all came to my hometown of Würzburg and hang out for a couple of days and got to know my family. And they were like, "Listen, don't make a decision to say no before you haven't seen Dallas and met some of the fellas." So they flew me in a couple of days after the draft. I got to meet Steve and Mike and some of the other players. And they were like, "Listen, we're not a great team. We're a young team. We're still growing, and we're just there's no pressure on you." And then I was like, you know what? They think that I could do it, and so I decided I'll come.
Wow!
So it was a big step for me. Of course, coming out of Germany, they haven't really played first division yet, and so that was a big jump from basically the second division in Germany to the NBA. I mean, it's quite a decision then. And then there was a lockout in '98, so I couldn't sign a contract. So that allowed me to stay in Germany almost 6 more months. Got to train, got to play first division for my home club because we had just gotten promoted. Those months were important for me, I think, where I played some men and had a little better competition every day. And so, and then, somewhere in January, they called me and said, the season is saved. And I was like, oh, and I was secretly hoping that they would cancel the whole season. Right? I know, right? Secretly hoping I can have a whole year to train and get ready more and get a little more stronger. But sure enough, they called me and they saved the season. So then I came over end of January, and then it was like from February to May, it was like a 3 months crazy whirlwind season. So that was wild, but I'm glad I got through it.
First impression of Big Nelly. Don.
I mean, he was a mastermind. He was, honestly, I was lucky. I was lucky to get to a team where he was. I think back when I got started in the late '90s, there were not a lot of coaches that wanted big guys to shoot and pick and pop, and sometimes even brought the ball up. And if I would have ended up somewhere else in another system, or even with Rick Pitino, who had me from the full court press. I don't think that would have worked well for me. I think so. I was in a perfect system with Steve and Mike, who supported me. So I was really fortunate there. And all Nelly was kind of doing was his plays were super simple. I mean, you guys know it was a high pick and roll, it was fist up, it was a fist side, and then there was these elbow catches with some curls around, and the rest was let him play. So
but that thought process is like the number one offense in the league for a lot of different teams when he ran it.
Yeah,
it was simple, but it got the job done.
Yeah.
Donnie Nelson was in the office in Phoenix. He moves to Dallas, and they trade for you the 97-98 season. What was that like going over there and with the young Dirk and Mark Cuban as an owner?
Yeah, I mean, at first I didn't want to go. I love Phoenix. Jack will tell you it's great down there.
Man,
Phoenix is beautiful.
Yeah, it was a great city. The organization, Jerry was unbelievable. It just felt great. It felt like home. And my second year with Jason and Kevin, I still got like 20 plus minutes a game. Danny Ainge was crazy enough to play all three of us together. And that was a great moment in my career, playing with Jason and Kevin and still being able to push myself into 22 minutes a game or whatever my second year was a great accomplishment for me and was proving that I was continuing on the right path. So then for it to be kind of over in a respect after that season was disappointing. But Dallas is one of the worst teams in the league. I got traded there on draft day when Dirk got drafted by the Mavs, and we played in the old Reunion Arena, and it wasn't in the same place that Phoenix was at the time. So it was in a sense it was like a step down. And then we had the lockout that year. I remember I was playing a pickup game like a week before training camp, and I got knocked out of the air going to the basket and landed on my back, and I struggled the whole year. And that's when I realized I had back problems that season, that I'd congenital and had a long time, but that's when that they presented themselves and became a problem. So I struggled the first lockout year, struggled a little bit the second year, and then, Dirk and I think turned a corner. Mark Cuban bought the team, and the Mavericks became one of the places to be, so to speak. So got ourselves to the conference finals. Jack, you were on that team, were you? San Antonio?
Yep.
Dallas, conference finals,
03.
lost. Yeah. Remember Stevie Kerr came in and hit like 4 or 5 threes in the fourth quarter of the clincher.
Yeah.
Anyways, so playing for Mark was incredible. He it wasn't all, like Mark could, in some ways get under your skin at times, but he was such a pioneering person for the game, like pushing the envelope on everything, the rules, the way we went about things, refereeing, marketing, like so many ways he tried to upgrade everything that we did in the league. And so it was incredible to watch him. He's a kind of a force of nature in that respect. And so to be there from the start with him was exciting. And that was a very influential time in my career.
I led the team in scoring that game, by the way.
Oh.
What'd you drop? How many?
I had 24.
Okay. In the clinching game?
Game 6, yeah.
I think people forget though. I was gonna say, I think people forget, Jack. You were like the second best player on the team. People forget in the history.
I don't talk much, but see, when we have guests like double MVPs like you and Hall of Famers like you, that's all I need. I don't talk much because people. I got overshadowed by the 4-3 Steve hit. But if they look at quarters 1, 2, and 3, y'all had Tim on lock. Tim couldn't get a bucket, and I had to save us. Me and Ginobili saved us.
Yeah, I mean, you guys obviously had a great team and all that stuff, but I think sometimes your little run there might be a little underappreciated.
Thanks, my guy.
03. You hurt your knee in Game 4 against the Spurs.
I didn't mean that, but I'm glad you
no.
How tough is that? I mean, obviously changed the series dramatically. Mentally, kind of your first injury in the NBA, big injury in the NBA.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was the year when we had Van Exel, and he was amazing for us.
Unbelievable.
We had a fun crew that year. I still think you guys would have beaten us. Honestly, I mean, you guys were so solid, and with Timmy and everybody. I mean, I still don't think even if I'm healthy, we win that series. But
at least go 7.
It would have been interesting. It would have been interesting. I think like we had such a good run, but they were such a juggernaut on defense that our offense never really clicked the way we wanted, because they were so smart and well coached, and Timmy in the middle. And so I'm not sure we would have beaten you guys, but that was brutal to sit there and
watch.
I think it was Manu fell into my knee, and I just sprained my knee, and I wanted to play so bad the next game. And then I even went to the pregame workout, and I looked okay. And that's where actually Nelly and Cuban got into a little bit, and they were never on the same page again. I think Cubes wanted me to play the way I worked out pregame, and Nelly was like, "Listen, he's 23."
Long career ahead of him.
Long career ahead of him. I'm not going to play him.
That's what Cuban said.
And so they didn't see eye to eye actually ever since after that. So, but yeah, going back now, I think it was the right decision not to play because I was so young, and even just standing there watching some of the game, I felt my knee was getting a little weak and a little sore, and so I think it was the right decision not to play, but of course it was. I mean, it was tough.
We put him in the game playing Game 6 because they were saying he was going to. They were saying he was going to play, and it was Game 6, so we just knew he was going to play. When he didn't put that uniform on.
And then we had Walt Williams after every three he gave a shake, and then we were up. Going to fourth, like 15 points, and there comes Steve Kerr. We didn't have him on the radar at all. And he came in, and we obviously trapped Timmy every time down, and then Steve hit like 4 or 5
4 in a row.
Hasn't played all year.
All game.
And
even Tim was having a bad game too.
Yeah, I don't think he played that playoffs the whole Steve. I'm not sure, but
he did.
He comes in, drains 4 threes, and completely changed the game. And
heartbreaking.
That was a tough one, and maybe I would have tried to play in 7, but. Hey, well, we'll never know. But like I said, you guys were.
I had 23 that game.
Yeah, easy 23.
You wasn't out there, so it was cool.
I want to back up to 06. You guys go up 2-0.
Oh, you guys are just killing me with all this.
It's just this one area. Just this one area.
Gray area.
And then the rest is you and Dallas celebration. But up 2-0. D Wade goes on a run that we hadn't seen.
Okay, so
talk to us about this.
So I remember standing up behind the bench. We're up 2-0. We're at Game 3 in Miami, and it's the third quarter, and we're up like 14. And I remember thinking to myself, we might sweep these motherfuckers, right? And right then, Udonis Haslem steps in front of somebody, gets a breakaway, and they start coming back. And then this is when we had Damp, and there was a play like a couple possessions later, Shaq literally pushes Damp out of the way. Pushes, and they call it on Damp. And I'm going nuts. Like, what the is going on here? Shaq, even crazier, hits 2 free throws. And I'm like, I celebrated too early, right? I went, oh, shit. And then, Bennett Salvador just turned D Wade. I mean, he shot more free throws in like one game than we did the whole series, which was just insane. And you had T-Mac and other people saying, okay, something's up with this. And obviously Donaghy. Now, do I think it was fixed? I don't know if it was fixed, but I certainly think that all the 50-50 calls were not going to go away.
You have to think about it, because if he was in the game, he had some type of influence, because that's what he was on. So you have to think that.
This is, I mean, obviously this could be a little touchy, but, coming from someone who is so keen on everything that involves the game, we had a hard time believing that it could be just one person, especially when kind of what was going on wasn't, and we're not trying to point no fingers or start no shit, but to me it was hard to believe.
I really think he was the only one that gambled on the games, right? But the rest of the refs were human, right? I mean, and so when they got pissed at me, like some of them liked me, and I could tell the ones who liked me because I was trying to change things, and were like, this shit needs to change. And there were others that just hated me. Hated me.
And would hold it against your team.
Yeah, and they would hold it. And you know how that works.
Yeah, they're human. Yeah. Any truth? We had Paul Pierce on our show, and he told us he was considering, the one time he considered leaving Boston was trying to come to you guys in 07.
We had traded for Paul Pierce. We were on the trade call. for Paul Pierce. Now, it wasn't 07 because we had tried to trade. It was later in his career. I forget which year it was, maybe 09. But we were on the trade call, and it was a three-way with Boston, Atlanta, and us. And we had told Atlanta what the deal was going to be, but we didn't tell them it was with Boston. And we get on the trade call, and Atlanta says, no, you got to throw in a first-round pick.
Who were some of the at the time?
I forget all the other pieces. I forget, but it was Paul Pierce coming to us.
Oof.
It was done. Oof. It was done. And they said, you have to throw in another first. And we didn't have another first to throw in.
The run you guys had against D Wade in 06, questionable call, a lot of questionable calls in that series that people kind of still talk about to this day. What's your perspective on it?
Yeah, a lot of questionable calls that people still talk about to this day. But no, I think you can't take anything away from them that they won. I think a lot of it, to me, I put it on the format, which has since changed, right? Again, when you work hard and you work hard for home court advantage, you shouldn't come back home possibly down, that 2-3-2 format. And again, even those games in the middle were, a lot happened. I got suspended a game for a hard foul, right. And and I'm sitting in the, sitting in the hotel room knowing that I could make a difference. That we would have went back home, at least up 3-2, in two of those games, and there was some marginal calls that went against us, but and then they had kind of the momentum when we came back home, So it was all that shouldn't feel that type of pressure after you had the type of regular season that we had, after going up, 2-0. That's still a. But looking at it, man, we got away from the game plan. Ultimately, we know that we wanted to, that he was a rhythm left, and we want to get on his right hand, and then we didn't do it. And I think, ultimately, that cost us. I mean, Dwyane had an unbelievable series.
He was incredible.
He was great, but, he shot probably a few more free throws than he should have. But, and one in particular that basically changed the series. But
one call.
I'm still, I've never been one to cry over spilled milk. Well, it is what it is. And, we had our opportunities. We didn't seize those opportunities, but they should have changed that format before that year, 2-2-1-1-1. And I think I'll be sitting up here in some company, with some hardware and some rings. I mean, people don't know how hard it is to get back to that spot. You think you gonna get back because you made a nice run, but it's just never that easy again, and never made it back.
A lot of luck goes into play.
A lot of it.
06, up 2-0 against Miami in the finals, and D Wade and Shaq and company come back on you guys and win 4 straight. What was that like mentally?
Well, it was, there were a couple of low points in my career. That was definitely one of them. We left here 2-0, feeling good. The Dallas Morning News, the newspaper here, had the parade route already in the paper.
Wow.
So speaking of a jinx,
that's always bad.
Man, you can't do that.
You can't do that. You can't do that. But we were kind of going down there. Things are going well. We think we're going to win this, and then we're still playing well in Game 3, and we were still up with like a couple minutes to go. We were still up, and then we ended up losing that game, and then things kind of just fell apart. I think we're still too young. We weren't quite ready for that stage, and that was D Wade's coming out party. I mean, he was unguardable, pick and rolls, get into the basket at will. He started to make some shots. We couldn't keep him in front of us, and so we ended up losing. Got blown out in Game 4. Switched hotels before Game 5. Avery snapped on us after Game 4. He's like, "Too much family here. I want out." So we moved somewhere to Fort Lauderdale. And try to stop the bleeding, and then lost a close one in Game 5 again, and then lost it here in Game 6. So, I was really frustrated, disappointed, but honestly, I was thinking, okay, I'm in my prime. I'm ready for this. We're going to be back. We have a good team. We're bringing the same team back again next year. And so I wasn't as disappointed in 06 as I actually was in 07.
Right, but looking back at that though, do you see something that y'all could have switched after Game 2 to make that series go end differently? Looking back at it,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, D Wade was incredible that series. I don't know if we could have trapped him more, trying to keep him out the lane. I'm not sure, but their role players started to play better too, and you know, they had Antoine Walker and Gary Payton and Posey. They had some good players, and then you know, they started to get more confidence after that first win, and they started to play better, shoot better from the outside. You know, Haslam is a great player. I always had a lot of respect for him. He's probably one of the guys that guarded me best throughout my career. So they had a good team, and so if we finish that game 3 off with a little more experience, I think then we have it. But since we let them get some life and get to, they got hyped and played even harder, and then, you know, that's the rest was history.
Y'all ran into a fucked up team in 07.
Yes, sir, man. Don't bring that up. It's 2 of those fucked up guys sitting here right now.
But the one thing I remember.
But I was cutting at y'all ass, though.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
the 2 motherfuckers would kept going were you and Josh Howard.
That's it. Y'all the only ones fight back.
And Stack would be so mad at the air, because I love Stackhouse, but I didn't really know him like that at the time, so I was just kind of, this is my first year really rocking the link, so I'm just like, he's mad as fuck at the end of the game on the bench, like,
he got. I remember game 6. He came in and hit 3 threes off the rip.
Start.
Off the rip. You almost fighting back though, but that wasn't enough.
Yeah, JT, nah, y'all boys, y'all had our number. Y'all ain't had nothing to lose. Y'all had Nelly over there. He knew.
When Nelly felt like shit, we won that series. He didn't give a fuck about the next series. That was our championship.
He wanted to stick it to Cube.
Straight up.
He wanted to stick it to Cuban, and he knew. Hell, he drafted Dirk. He found him.
But he told us everything about Dirk, bro.
You know, you was getting up under him and all that, man. It was like, Dirk put his little ass in the basket, man.
We was on him. We was on him. He would not wrestle with me.
Nah, man, it was that. But if you guys did a hell of a job. BD was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Man, it was Jay Rich. Like I said, I remember, I was meeting him up top, everything.
Hey, but that says a lot about that team for that to happen and to come back how y'all came back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We had to, man. It was a tough. Had to make that run. You know, sometimes that gets you to that next level, man. That heartache, that defeat, and then you come back and you make a strong run.
How much did you hate us in 07? Get it out.
But let me just tell you, I also had one of the best moments as an owner then, right, in Golden State. So we were playing you guys. Obviously, we were the favorites. We had a great year, but you guys had crushed us during the season.
Yeah.
You guys had beat us.
We felt good.
Yeah. No, you should have, right? But 2 things, right? 2 things. That was the Tim Donaghy year.
No question.
Right? So here's something you probably don't know. There was a game y'all played against the Bulls, and you guys had Andris Biedrins, right?
Yep.
And it was a game that ended up going into overtime. Biedrins is in the defensive 3, right? Sitting there. Tim Donaghy reaches out, pushes him out of the paint. Literally pushes him out of the paint instead of calling D3. Now, it was a tie game. If they had called that D3, right, Ben Gordon goes to the line, right, 80-some% free throw shooter, makes that 3. Now you guys got a foul, and you guys just barely made it in. If he calls that the other way, you don't make it into the playoffs at all.
Wow.
At all, right? So that was number 1,
wow.
right?
we had questions about him when he was throwing us out. He threw us out.
Was it you? Not us, you.
And he threw me and BD out in the playoffs against y'all. Game 2.
Yeah.
Me and Nelly. He threw us all out.
Yeah.
Remember, I watched that guy.
Hey, I walked you to the back and put a towel in front of your face because he was cussing everybody out. So I wasn't out the game, but I just walked because you can exit right behind our bench. I had a towel in front of Jack's face so he didn't get us in no more trouble walking out.
But here's the fun part. Even though we lost, and that was brutal. Back in the arena, right? Every time I walked in, so guys would be out on the court warming up before the game. I would come through the tunnel, and the minute I stepped on the court, everybody would be going, Cuban sucks, Cuban sucks. I walk out, they stop. I walk back in, Cuban sucks.
In Golden State?
In Golden State. It happens in San Antonio, and it happened in Golden State, which I love because I'd walk out, see if they do it again. I'd walk in, they were watching for me. You guys would look around and go, what the hell is going on? And it would happen in San Antonio too, like, because I sit right on the bench, right behind the bench, and I'd get the Cuban sucks, right? So I'd wait until TD was at the free throw line at the end of the game, and I'd stand up, and they start going, Cuban sucks. Right. And he's looking around and go, I'm on the free throw line. What's going on?
Yeah, Nelly was so ready for that. He had us so prepared. And
I've never seen him like that.
And everyone else thought he pretty much, after we won that, it was like his champ. He said,
he didn't give a shit about nothing.
He didn't care about Utah. What is, I mean, we would hear a little bit about it. What was the issue, if you can speak about it, between Nelly and either the organization or Nelly and you? Because like I said,
it fell apart on the Dirk stuff, right? Okay. Because I was like, Nelly, the doctors say he could play. He was like, well, I had that injury, the same injury. I'm like, Nelly, it's
medicine's a little different.
Yeah, things have changed. Well, I'm like, okay. And that was it.
Really? That's it. That's crazy.
Nelly, we're not sitting in the locker room smoking cigarettes, drinking beers at halftime like I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Next season, MVP, 60+ wins. Nelly took this personal. Like, we weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs, but he said if we get in the playoffs, we're going to play Dallas and we're going to beat them.
And that's all I care about in life.
Yeah, and he quit. I don't know, like quit's a big word. He might have checked out after we
He didn't give a damn after that.
Yeah. So that season, again, huge 65 wins, 67 wins, 68 wins.
67 or 67?
Yeah, 67 wins. You're the MVP. 1 versus 8. What is your thought going into that series versus, because we actually played you guys well that season, although we were out of the mix at the time. We played you guys well.
Yeah. So in 06, like I said, I wasn't that frustrated. Of course, I was a little disappointed, but I was like, I'm in my prime. Next year, we're coming in where we have the same team. We're going to roll. Start the season off 0-4. Win in a double overtime in Phoenix. We're about to go 0-5, and we win, and then roll the rest of the season. It was just one of those rolls where, like, we were on the road somewhere, we're down in the fourth quarter, and we just looked at each other, and Jet was like, we're gonna come back and win this. We're gonna get some big stars when we need them, and we're gonna just find some offense and give the ball to me and Jet, and we'll make it happen. So we had a crazy amount of confidence during that whole season. And then here come the Warriors, and we didn't love playing you guys. I gotta say, that was a tough matchup. That was you could laugh. I wish I could laugh.
He said we didn't love playing you guys.
I wish I could laugh. Now, you guys were a tough matchup for us. Not only did Nelly know every strength of ours since he coached us, and he knew exactly what to do.
Bro, I had tape on you. Just your moves. I'm talking about 30 minutes of just your tape, bro.
Well, there weren't a lot of moves. It was always going left. You always said you can only go left. You can only go left. But you also had, a lot of teams obviously had the blueprint, but they didn't have the personnel to pull it off.
Yeah.
You guys had a small team that always gave me problems and other problems. You guys were fronting in the post. Usually I can catch on anybody. We had a tough time getting the ball to me, pass it, first of all. Then every time I drove one way and I spun back, there came the trap.
He's going to spin.
He's going to spin. I like shooting out of my spin. Yeah. So then we didn't have a great shooting team, or we didn't have a great passing team. So both of these things you guys just took advantage of. It was tough. I couldn't stop the bleeding. I didn't shoot well. I mean, that was probably my worst playoff series that I've played, and all the credit obviously to you guys. And that was tough. And then I took 07 almost harder than 06 because maybe I had such high expectations. We beat the Spurs like 3 out of 4 that year. Yeah. In my mind, I'm saying we're winning the championship that year. And I had made so much pressure on myself, and then maybe I was even froze up a little bit too much. I didn't play loose against you guys. I didn't have fun, and so that was one of the toughest. I felt like almost embarrassed for a couple of weeks. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to go to the MVP ceremony, take the MVP. Usually back in the days, the MVP ceremony was during the second round, during the pregame. We didn't have a game anymore, so I had to put a suit on and go down there, and it was just awkward. I didn't want to be there. So every time I see my MVP trophy now at home, it's unfortunately in my mind. I think of you guys.
Well,
I think of all the smoke when I see my damn.
Did you throw a chair or something at the wall in Oracle?
Because I've never heard this story.
How'd that happen?
So I was just pissed off. I'm not quite sure how it happened. Somebody said it was a trash can. Or somebody said it was a chair. I don't think a trash can could actually make a hole like this. So I actually can't remember how it happened. But yeah, afterwards somebody said, you made a hole in the wall.
And they hung a We Believe jersey up next to like some assholes.
Yeah, they did that.
It was there forever.
It was there
they got
forever.
the new building.
It was there forever, which was great. I mean, you guys had a fun team.
I think,
well deserved.
with all due respect, you winning MVP and as good as your team, you came back with you were different the next year though. We felt like when
we helped you. You came back a different Dirk.
Well, as it is in life, you have to learn from tough situations, from tough moments, and I felt like, you guys pushed me to be better a little bit with my back to the basket. I mentioned it earlier. I always liked to face, like to drive, and it was a little too predictable. So, I said you have to add more to your game. You have to work hard this summer and be a better leader and more complete player. So I got a lot more comfortable, posting up then, and even if it was free throw line or down the box, and I would never, even still then, I would not out-muscle you and get to the basket, but I was more comfortable there, operating in that area and shooting over smaller guys, shooting fadeaways, and then the one-legger came, and so I think, you guys forced me to get back in the lab and get better and push. And I always say, without the disappointments in 06 and 07, I wouldn't have been the closer in 11. I think that's very true.
Sure.
You have to go through tough times and learn from tough mistakes and get better. And so
11 is crazy.
That was you guys pushed me to be better.
You hit Dallas for a year. What was it like playing with Dirk?
One of the best shooting bigs ever, if not the best.
The best?
Yeah, and I think people don't give him enough credit. Just like when you talk about international players, immediately you talk about Olajuwon, MVPs, all that stuff. But, Dirk was no joke. I mean, I think the one blemish, but it was because y'all was so great with the We Believe team. Like, people always go back to he didn't show up. That was an MVP season. They was supposed to do
Dirk.
this. But y'all was nice as hell, and you had a team full of dogs. But his legacy is pretty much second to none. Like being with one organization, going through the highs and the lows, and eventually winning the championship in 2011. Glad I was be part of that team. Like it was just a whole special experience.
I mean, obviously, you took one championship. Some people may talk about that, but the run you guys made to get that title. You beat us. We were coming off back-to-backs, swept us, beat the brakes off us, San Antonio and OKC.
Yeah.
And then the Big Three in Miami.
Big Three in Miami.
That's a hell of a run.
That run was crazy because we had the best record in the league, and I was the third leading scorer on that ball club. I ruptured my patella January 1st in Milwaukee, and we had a changeover of 4 players. Peja Stojakovic signed on, Corey Brewer. I think we brought Brian Cardinal, and then another guy as well, fill in the roster. But, we had 3 guys to replace the need of, 16, 17 points a night in that system. And that was a lot of changeover, and it took us 23, 24 games to really develop a new style and a way to play. And basically around Dirk, his excellence, his leadership, J Kidd, point guard, out there just, manufacturing points and keeping guys motivated and not letting the steam drop off. We was able to win that championship.
Crazy with you on the sideline too. That's crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
8 and 10, you guys are building. You bring in Jason Kidd, Trix, Sean Marion, Peja, Caron, who doesn't help you get down the stretch run because he gets hurt, but was a big piece. Rick Carlisle as well. What did all those pieces mean to you?
So actually, when we made, I was like, okay, 07, we still had the best team. Going to 08, we lose to you guys, but we won 67 games. I'm like, we're straight, we're good. And then the 08 season started, and stuff is just not going that well. And it actually shows, don't take stuff for granted, man. Sometimes things can change in a heartbeat. Within one season, all of a sudden, we're not right there anymore. We're not with the best team all of a sudden. Teams have passed us by, and then our window from 06 and 07 all of a sudden looked closed. And so things were not going well at all in the 08 season. And then we did the trade at the All-Star game for J. Kidd. We felt like his leadership, his we, like I mentioned earlier, we're in great passing, we're in great playmaking. We had some good scorers at the guards, but not getting everybody involved, playmakers. And so we made the deal for J. Kidd at the All-Star game, and that didn't pan out the way we wanted to at the beginning either. So there in 08 to 10, there were a lot of changes. We still had Avery when J. Kidd first came, and then Carlisle took over, I believe, in the 08-09 season. Then we did the big trade with Washington to bring in Haywood, D. Steve, who was crazy, and of course Caron, and so they fit in well. And all of a sudden, the window is open again. We felt like we had a good team. We had some veterans, and and going into that, 10-11 season, we felt like we had a good team. I don't think we were necessarily favorites, but we felt like we had some veterans, and we had a good start to the season. And then I got hurt right around Christmas time, and then so I was out. I was hurt, and then New Year's Day, I'll never forget. We're in Milwaukee. That's where Caron is from. And I'm sitting out in a suit because I'm not playing, and Caron goes up for a rebound and just screams and lays on the ground. And so we're all rushing over there. And I see literally, he tore his patella tendon, and his kneecap had dislocated, so it sat.
His thigh.
It sat up top on his thigh. I'm trying to dry heave. It was nasty. And so our trainer's like, oh my God, we need wheelchair. And that was one of the toughest things I've seen. I mean, Caron is pretty tough. So he heard wheelchair. And he's from Wisconsin. His grandmother was there, his family.
Racine.
He's like, I'm not getting out of here in a wheelchair. So he's like, I watched him push his kneecap down by himself. And he gets up and starts hobbling. You know how in the old Milwaukee arena, that was a drag to go back to the locker room. And he walked that on his own power. I said, this guy is built different. And but then, here we go again. We're thinking our window is closing, losing. He was probably our second best scorer. I think he was our second best scorer that year. And so we're like, oh God, here it goes again, right? It's just a bunch of bad luck. And but I would say that he motivated us, inspired us, the way he wanted to come back and fought and attacked rehab. I mean, he was almost ready to play in that final series in 11. I mean, he was a beast, and every day watching him, how he handled himself, how he attacked that rehab, that really motivated us, and that inspired us for that 10-11 run.
Blazers, Lakers, OKC, Miami. 28 points per game, 49% field goal, 46% three-point, 94% from the free throw line. Gee willikers. Took down Kobe, KD, and LeBron. We call that, as you know, on one. You was definitely on one. What mind frame were you in?
Well, I had a good run. We started against Portland. They gave us some problems. They, that LaMarcus, B-Roy still. They had a good team. They were smart. And so we didn't play that well there. We almost lost one at home, and it took us a while. To get going, and then I felt like that we lost both games in Portland, and it was 2-2 coming back here, and that's still. I remember to this day, I was like, we're not going to lose to them. We're not going to lose Game 5 on our home court, and. I don't know why I said that to the team. I usually don't say much in team meetings and stuff. I'm a quiet guy. I let the coaches do their thing. But that day, I'm like, even in the pregame meeting, I was like, they're not beating us. We got this.
You know what they do to your teammate to hear Dirk say that though? You just in the back of the locker room quiet. And then it's all nah, they ain't beating us today.
Yeah.
That's everybody like, oh yeah.
I just felt that. I just felt that because in Game 4, we were up like 20, and B-Roy made that magical run, and they beat us, and I just had that. That's not going to happen again. And so And then from there, we started to roll. We won Game 5 at home, beat them in Game 6, went straight down to LA and stole a miracle Game 1 where Kobe was like hot, had like 40, I think. It seemed like he couldn't miss. And we basically stole that one at the buzzer. And from there, I don't know, we just got, confidence was getting better, and we had, the roles were defined perfectly, right? You had Tricks and Kid and Tyson. They were the defenders, right? On offense, we knew Jet and I and JJ, we were going to wheel and deal and do our thing. And obviously we had some shooters, but I felt like our roles were perfectly defined, and we had a great bench that we can change the tempo a little bit. So I don't know. It was just a magical time. We had Pager that we signed somewhere in February. I think he got bought out in Toronto, and we took a chance on him. He didn't look like he could play with his back, and he rehabbed for 2-3 months every day, and then gave us unbelievable run there. Made some huge shots in the Lakers and OKC series, and so everything that we did that year kind of panned out, and it was fortunate, I guess.
You guys end up getting to the top of the mountain on a hell of a journey. Were there ever times, Cube talked about it at some point in your career, trying to get Paul Pierce, trying to get Kobe. Was there ever a time you possibly thought about hitting the market or possibly playing for someone else?
Yeah, I mean, so 4 years was the rookie deal, and then basically right in my last year, I believe, on my rookie deal, I signed a max deal. I signed just the same deal that Vince signed back in the days, and Paul. We signed a 6-year deal, and then I didn't really hit free agency till my 10th year in the league. So I was free agent there in 2010, and right before actually the championship year. And I didn't want to go anywhere. I loved it here. It's been 10 years, but you think about, hey, are we ever going to get back to the stage? And so I went to, since I really didn't have an agent, Holger was helping me with some of that stuff, but I didn't have an agent. So I just went over to Mark's house, and we sat down on his couch and, just reminisce and talk for like, 2 hours on what we've done and how fun this run was. And I said, okay, let's run it back. And then both got a little emotional talking about the old days. And then I ended up signing that 4-year deal, and then we ended up winning the championship. In year one, and so it worked out perfect. And then, of course, I knew I wasn't going to go anywhere after winning the championship. That would have been the only reason to go somewhere at the end to chase something or maybe chase a ring. But since we got it done here, I never had to do that.
Traded to Dallas, you joined a stacked team, no pun intended. Dirk, J. Kidd, Sean Marion, Jason Terry. What was that team like?
Jason Terry, long.
Man, Jet, dog. It was a team like full of characters and full of, like Stack said when we were at the Hornets. We were all guys who had been on different journeys, accomplished different things in the league, had got paid already, and now was like on a team together and really legit just wanted to win.
That's it.
Like, and that's why that unit came together. It was an incredible team, incredible ride. Dirk played basketball that I've never seen before. Like, I mean, that dude was a machine during that run. But Jet hit big shots for us. Jet hit big shots, man.
He hit 10 threes against us with the Lakers. Remember, y'all swept us in the first round. Y'all beat the shit out. Remember when Bynum took out Barea at the end of the game? Beat the shit out of us, bro. Swept us.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I remember I was telling family, like, I got you in the next round, like when we come back to LA, because I never thought like it was gonna be a sweep.
Beat us down.
But it was after that I was like, all right,
But that journey was crazy. So you beat us, then OKC,
it was
or San Antonio first?
We started with...
you beat us in the first round?
No, you guys were... It was Portland.
Oh, okay, you guys in the second round?
Started. Yeah, Portland, and then we got y'all in the second, and then we had OKC.
That was a young OKC team.
Man,
it was tough.
With James, and James was still there, James, Russ, Serge, all like, that was a real tough team. Perk.
Yeah.
And then the finals against the Heat, who, they had just signed Bron that summer.
They wasn't ready for it.
Nah, not at all.
They were the underdogs, though. Remember, everyone thought Miami's going to walk through them.
Everybody thought Miami was going to.
Yeah, because they had the names, but when you look at the roster and the guys that y'all had the better team.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
What was that finals matchup like? Obviously, all the hype surrounding that team and the big three, and like you said, Dirk was on another planet that whole season. But what was that finals experience like?
It was incredible. That first game, though, like, you could watch tape, you could, try to anticipate. They shocked us with how fast, explosive, and athletic they were. D-Wade and Bron on the wings. I mean, it was like a dunk show, like that first game. And it like we were caught off guard by it. We had to make adjustments to it. And the series turned, they was whooping us the second game. And we were still almost in shell shock. What turned the series was when D-Wade hit the 3-bar bench and held it up and then walked by our whole bench. Super disrespectful. We after that, it was like, all right, wake up. Now woke us up.
Yeah.
That's when I'm okay, all right. I don't even care what happened. Nah. And we was literally in the huddle, and it shifted for us at that point. And then we got back to us, and then started rolling them off.
Yeah, Dirk was on one.
A lot of tough stuff happening on that journey to 2011. To me, that was one of the greatest journeys to get there, beat a lot of good teams. Talk to us about that journey. You guys ended up beating the big three with Bron, D-Wade, and Bosh, but that was a hell of a road.
It was an incredible run. We started that season 29-5. Nobody was beating us. Then what's his name? Caron got hurt, and Caron was our number 2 scorer. And then all of a sudden, we didn't have a second scorer, and then Dirk gets hurt. And we go on this road trip in January and lose 6 in a row and get obliterated. So as we had no Caron, even Roddy Boubois, who's a guy who was really coming on, was hurt. And so we were struggling. And we get to the playoffs and literally, we were playing Portland, and it was, they were favored over us, and we were the higher seed. And so we were playing LaMarcus and Brandon Roy and that group, and we win the first 2 games here. We go up 20-something there in the third game, and Brandon Roy puts on the last show he ever put on. I mean, the dude was super skilled, but with his knees, and just comes back and beats us single-handedly. And we lose. I think we lose the next game, and then come back and fortunately close it out. But that having our, just being destroyed like that by Portland, instead of putting us down, really helped us figure it out. And I think we wore them down, won that series,
smacked us.
Yeah.
Swept us.
Yeah.
Beat the dog shit out of us.
That was insane, because I remember sitting there going, oh, it's the Lakers.
This
2
team
times.
coming off back-to-back championships.
Yeah, back-to-backs, and everybody, no one gave us a chance. And so we go there and playing in your court, and no, where did it open up? We were the higher seed.
You guys were the higher seed.
Yeah, so we played here first and had to come from behind twice, right? And came from behind, and then we go there, and what was that? That was the Corey Brewer game, I think, where we were down 15, and Corey Brewer just went off. And no, we started there because we closed it out.
Because you closed out.
Yeah, we closed out.
Bynum had that foul.
Yeah, Bynum had that foul on JJ. Yeah, so we go there, and we come down from behind both games. And as I'm walking out, I go to Jack Nicholson, who sits right by the visitors bench. I'm like, you need tickets or anything in Dallas? Rather, you just let me know. He goes, we're coming back. Don't worry about it. I'll see you back here. Then we get to game 4. We win game 3. We get to game 4, and we can't miss. We're up 20-something at halftime.
Jason Terry hit 10 threes or something.
10 threes, 9 in the first half. And I told my buddy who sits next to me, he's always sat next to me, I'm like, if you touch me and wake me up out of this shit, I'm going to beat the shit out of you, because this is a dream and I don't want to wake up. And then bind him towards the end, right? Yeah. And then Jerry West even called me after that. And he goes, that's just not, Laker basketball.
Right.
It happens. And JD doesn't care. JJ's a tough dude.
And then a young OKC in the Western Finals,
they
right?
had that whole crew, kind of like the Clippers. They had this year's Clipper team back then, except for KD, right? And they were a tough squad, but they beat us the first game, I think, and then we won the rest.
Yeah, and then in that finals, what did Tyson say? Someone hit the shot in front of D Wade hit the shot in front of the bench and kind of rubbed it in, and then you guys
went up 15.
Then you guys went on that run,
and he looks at us, and does this and this and all this shit, and
turned on the light.
No, and then what people don't know is like that they won the first game, and then that second game when we're in Miami. Halftime, that's that same game, they're up 15 or whatever. And what's his name? Oh my God, I'm spacing fucking the GM, Pat Riley. Right, Kim. Pat Riley says to me at halftime as I'm walking through, because you had to walk through it,
the
middle part right there. He goes, "Not long enough, not strong enough, Mark."
That's what he said to you.
We're just too quick and too long. I'm like, I didn't say anything bad. It's Pat Riley, right? I'm not gonna disrespect him. I'm like, okay. And then we come back. And
damn.
Boom.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sweet.
It was nice. And then the cool part, because Mickey Aaronson's a cool dude. I like Mickey a lot. And he goes, we close it out and we're getting the trophy down in Miami. And I see Mickey, he shakes my hand. He goes, "Oh, the irony," right? Because we were supposed to beat them in 2006, and then they were supposed to kill us in 2011.
Crazy how that works. Obviously, a ton of accomplishments in the business world. Where does that 11 championship rank for you?
Oh, I've got Larry O'Brien in my office staring me in the face every single day, right? The good news is it was amazing. The bad news is it's been 12 fucking years, right? And so, it's like, I went out with the hottest girl in high school, right? That don't do you any good anymore, right? And so, so now it's frustrating, but I think we're on a good path here now.
I was always labeled as a non-shooter, even till the day I retired. I was a non-shooter, and being with Dirk in Dallas, I said, "Look, you're gonna be doubled. My guy's coming to help. I will always be open. So if you can find me, I will be open. And guess what? I will throw it back to you." But it's I think you always have to pick apart every summer, as I talked about. If you can get 1% better, and I think working on shooting just didn't happen overnight. You have to work on it on a continuous basis when people aren't watching.
Right.
Everybody wants to be recognized for working hard. It's when people aren't watching you, when you're in the gym by yourself, when you're shooting the ball, you don't have a rebounder, and you gotta go get it.
That's how we grew up.
That's how we grew up.
That means you love it.
Yeah, well, unless you got 10 basketballs right there on the side, which we didn't have. You look at shooting by yourself, you gotta go get your rebound. Right. In today's staff, we got
8 rebounders.
Yeah. And 2 passers for each player. So now the player only has to worry about his shooting. So how do you imagine, your misses, right? How do you work on your misses? Better misses, right? A lot of times everyone looks at, if you make it, that's great. But I look at it the other way. How bad did you miss? Can we give you a point for hitting the back rim? Are you long? We'll take a point off if you're short, right? And so, because if it's short, it's never going in.
Yeah.
So that's just something that I always thought about as a pro. I had to work on my game as much as people said that I was good at other parts.
Right. 2011, loaded. And to me, one of the most legendary runs considering the teams you guys knocked off on the way. Just to name a few guys, Marion, Pedro Stojakovic, Tyson Chandler, Jason Terry. I remember Jason Terry hit 10-3. You guys swept us in the first round with the Lakers. JT hit 10 threes in Game 4 in Dallas. You guys were going crazy. You guys end up beating Miami's Big Three in the finals. How special was that team?
It was a great team. I think keyword team. We all accepted Dirk was our best player. Jason Terry was our next best player. When you talk about Tyson and myself, we talked about defense. How can we help Dirk? How can we protect the guys that they were going to go after? And then it was just about making the right play. Not worry about yourself. If you're not open, get off of it. And so it was a great team. We were close. We would go to dinners all the time on the road, and we cared about one another. And I thought through tough times, that Miami series wasn't easy because we had an opportunity in game one. It got away from us, and then we're down 15, I think, in game two. And there was a little shadow boxing in front of our bench that kind of pissed us off. And so from that point on, we kind of were like, okay, they're showboating, so we gotta make a stand.
Let's turn it on. You just mentioned team. That team alone held LeBron James to 17 points a game in the finals. How did you guys collectively slow him down?
That's a question he's going to have to answer. I think, for the game plan was just to give different looks and then throw different bodies, And again, someone who's not on that list, when you talk about D. Steve.
Sean Stevenson,
yeah. He wasn't scared. And so that was, we had a lot of role players, including myself as a role player. J.J. Barrera, guys weren't scared to take a charge or be in the way or try to, do something. And I think that's what helped us. But we just try to make it tough on LeBron. He's going to score. He's going to get his attempts. But you just can't give him freebies, because if you give him freebies, that's where he can hurt you.
Dirk was incredible during this run. 28 points a game, shot over 46% from the three-point line. One, how special was he during that run? But just two, looking back on it, you got a chance to play with prime Dirk, and you're coaching Luka, who still hasn't hit his prime, which is fucking scary. Arguably two of the greatest European players ever do it, but how special was Dirk?
Yeah, Dirk was a warrior, man. I think, and he's also funny. I know this is he would rap in German. I don't know what he was saying, but he would say that he was rapping. But he had a great personality off the court. I think everyone got to see him on the court, and just the fadeaway, the one dribble, hard dribble right, bank. But he worked on all that. He was a worker. He worked extremely hard on all the stuff that you saw in the game. And so when you compare the two, Dirk will tell you that Luka's better than he is at the age of 23. Dirk's very honest. He was like, I don't know if I was going to make it in the league when I was young. But when you look at what Luka's doing at 23, it's unbelievable. But Dirk changed the game. When you talk about being able to give space, a big putting it on the floor, one or two dribbles either way, and then, again, his shooting ability was off the charts.
DeAndre Jordan situation. And then you end up getting him a couple years later, but that was a fiasco because I remember talking to you on the phone about it, and they put the full court press on him. They went out to the Clipper Corps went out to see him, to see him, and didn't let him out until he changed. But DJ told me he was coming to you.
No, DJ told me he was coming. He told Dan he was coming, his agent, right? And I remember we just sat in. It was a hotel in Houston. We were in the lobby, and there was a dude named Steve who was DeAndre's money guy who was like, I thought this thing was done. And the weird part was the dude who was bringing us coffee and everything, Belitza that played in the league, it was his brother. It was just weird shit. But we couldn't get a hold of DJ. He just went radio silent, and then, the rest is history. And, DJ made the choice he made. That's up to him. Now he's got a ring, and so he can talk shit and do whatever he wants.
The recruitment of DeAndre, because you pulled a lot of strings, and then the Clippers pulled some crazy shit.
Yeah, that was
DeAndre Jordan, by the way, for those of you who know when we say DJ.
That was the biggest heartbreak I ever went through. I mean, at the time we had a great team in Dallas. And we're recruiting free agency. Like I'm in the draft room. I'm in the free agent meetings. Like Mark kind of gave me and Dirk reins. Like, all right, this is who we want. Like, go get him. So I'm coming out to LA. He was also with Dan Fagan, so we had the same agent. So we're partying together. We're working out together. I'm basically, his schedule is my schedule. I'm all over him. Right? I'm like, I'm getting this guy, and I get him. Like he commits to us. Like he's verbally there. Cubans, we're here. We're going to dinner. We're at his house with his mom, his brothers, and I never forget the girl I was dating at the time. She had a birthday party in Vegas, and I left, and I tweeted an airplane emoji because I was going to Vegas. That's when the whole reports, the Woj bomb saying DeAndre Jordan having cold feet, and I'm like, there's no way, bro. I just left, like no chance. And that's when that whole Twitter emoji war started. Remember that, where everyone started tweeting like emojis. Chris Paul was tweeting like a banana boat or something. Blake tweeted the picture of the door like that they like locked him in the crib. Like there was a whole thing, and that was all because, and we had just signed Wes Matthews to come with DeAndre Jordan. So it was like a whole thing, right? But again, like, you know, there's no hard feelings there. Like he did what he thought was best for his career. I think that year he was Defensive Player of the Year, and for the Clippers, he went to like the Western Conference Finals. Like he's had a great career, but that was just like a crazy. That's never happened before. Like we had it. It was done.
He committed, and then the Clippers flew who? Doc, Paul Pierce, CP,
and Blake.
Yeah, to his house, locked him in
until he signed,
and beat him down until he signed.
Yeah. It was nuts.
Didn't he end up going to Dallas anyway?
He did end up going to Dallas. I left and then he went.
Right.
It was crazy.
So heading into free agency, you were looking to possibly stay in Dallas, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to do, obviously?
Yeah.
And it didn't really work out that way. You end up going to Memphis on another nice deal. What was that experience like?
So I signed a 3-year deal in Dallas, but I had a player option in the 3rd year. And talking with my agent, they said, listen, I played good that year. You know, we went to the playoffs. They said, you can get a big deal. And there's a lot of interest in you. So I'm like, all right, great. I'll opt out of my player option. And Dan Fagan was like, basically, you're going to get a max contract. And, you know, when Dan says
He's
that,
the best at it.
I'm fine. I believe you. But Cuban wanted me to opt into that 3rd year because I had just had a knee surgery. I had my 2nd one. And I was still going into free agency. And so I didn't pick up my 3rd year because Mark was like, look, just opt in and prove yourself that you can play. And then I'll sign you to a 5-year max the next year. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, and it was for like $17 million. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, he's telling me to opt in now for 17, but Dan Fagan, my agent, telling me I got guaranteed like 95. Like, I'm like, Mark, if I was your son, like, what would you tell him? Like, would you tell me to do this and take this guaranteed deal? Right. And they knew I had the knee surgeries, right? And so that was crazy. And that's another crazy story where I had 2 pitch meetings. And I remember it was Orlando and New York offered max deals, but like 2 or 3 years. But the 2 big 4 ones were Memphis Grizzlies and the Portland Trailblazers. And Paul Allen came, Dame came, Terry Stotts came, their front office came, and we had a great meeting in Portland. And to be honest with you, I was all in on Portland. I was like, we can cancel the Memphis. Like, I'm going to Portland. Like, this is play with Dame and CJ. Like, this is great. And I was like, yeah. So I was like, all right, like, I'm in. JB Bickerstaff and Fizz, who are my family, he had just got the head coaching job at Memphis. I said, you know what, let's just take the meeting. Like, I love them. Like, let's see. And also, they had Gasol, they had Conley, they had Zebo, TA. Like, they had a squad, too. So I'll never forget, we're in this meeting, right? And it's at Dan Fagan's house. And we're in the Memphis meeting. And I see, like, where Stack's sitting, Fagan's getting, like, red and, like, kind of getting weird. And then, like, 5 minutes later, he's like, hey, let's take a break. And, like, you know, we'll meet back up in 5. He's like, CP, come here. So I go to his room with him, and he's like, you're going to Memphis. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he goes, Portland is going to give you a physical, and because of like Greg Oden and Brandon Roy's injury history, you might not pass. So I'm like, what do you mean, bro? He's like, trust me, like, you don't want to go down that. Like, if you do that and they red flag you, bro, you're taking a minimum deal, and you're smoked out of $95 million. So I'm like, bro, like, what? Like, in my head, I'm on Zillow looking at houses in Portland. Like, I was going. Like, I love them. I go back in there, bro, and Oscar performance going back. Oscar, I go back in there. Listen, guys, I've never been more sure of something in my life.
Sold it.
Grit and grind to the day I die. I'm like, I'm in.
I'm gonna get that shit tatted.
I was like, we can just stop it here. I'm signing. Literally, I'm like Blake Griffin. I wouldn't let them leave till I signed the deal.
Yeah.
I was like, I am going. So that was just another Dan Fagan crazy story where I was like, man, I've never told that story either.
That's incredible.
And so, like, that was nuts where I was like, this man did it again.
Bring up JB Brunson, losing Brunson, but the biggest thing is I'm happy that he got paid.
Yes.
He helped us.
Because you've been there.
Yes. We all, I know Cuban doesn't like this, but I love when I can help people get paid. And I'll tell a player first day of camp, hey, tell me what you want. Well, everybody wants shots, everybody wants minutes, but that's not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get paid and they want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I can help you do that.
Yeah, right.
Okay. But the other part of that is I'm just going to ask for a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust and communicate and play hard.
Mm-hmm.
And those things that you ask for me to help you get will happen. And if you ask Brunson, he would tell you that he listened and good things
Did
happen.
he ever?
And I only want to put people in a position to be successful.
Right?
That's it. And there's 30 companies in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
We all can't stay on the same company.
Yeah.
So for him to go to New York, to get paid, to have the opportunity to run his own team, I'm happy for him.
Me knowing how good of a coach you are, and I know how me and him love the game, how we played the game. It bothers me when you have to ask people to play hard.
Yeah. Well, as you know, it's a different athlete, different player.
Mm-hmm.
Playing hard is now a talent. Being able to check that box. So
That's your boy. Your boy said that. J-Mac told me that. We was talking about Greek freak. He told me that. That's the talent.
It's a talent now. As we grew up, that was never...
It was a must.
Yes. It was never in doubt.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of that, too, is how many guys really love the game? How many guys love to be in the gym and sweat?
And not what the game can do for you.
Yeah, or not even go to the gym and think they got better today.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to spend time in the gym. When you look at yourself, you got to spend time in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You learn from each other. You learn from guarding Matt Barnes learned from you.
Yeah.
So when we played in the regular season, he knew what your go-to move was, but then you made you better because you had to now find out, I got to work on a secondary move when I see Matt. So Matt doesn't know that I have this next move, but I think the big thing is just the teaching, to be able to work, and the imagination. Hopefully our imagination for our younger players will continue to grow, because I think we're losing that a little bit.
Knicks free agency. Was there a chance in Dallas? The bright lights in New York will call your name. Talk to us about your free agency.
There was a chance.
Okay.
There's a chance. I really did want to stay in Dallas. I think before the season, before my fourth season in Dallas, my last season in Dallas, we tried to extend our contract, whatever we can get. The most we can get was like 4 years and $55 million. And so obviously we wanted to do that. I wanted to stay there. I thought I would be there for a long time, and I liked my role there. It's funny because my agent was like, I mean, you can do so much. You can get more. You can get more. I'm saying like, well, like I want to be safe. Like, I'm not trying to gamble right now. This is not something you really gamble with if it's out there.
Right.
And so, but they were like, we want to see where we're at, like 20, 25 games into the season. But we were like, all right, well, if we're not going to do it, I kind of don't want to do it until after the season. I'm not trying to think about this.
During the season, right.
Yeah, so there's a period where Luka went out and I started to start. And I was playing really well. I think I was averaging like 20 and like 6 maybe, whatever. And so it was about that 20, 25 mark. And so we went back. We're like, hey, like, if the deal's there, we're thinking about it. Like, I'll do it. Like right now. And still, it was no. Like it wasn't a hard no. It was just like, we want to see. So I'm like,
this was Dallas.
This is Dallas. It's still in Dallas.
Okay.
Because I originally wanted to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And so trade deadline comes. I'm like thinking like, all right, well, if I'm not getting extended, I'm probably going to get traded. Probably. I think the way I've been playing, like there's just like
playing well, right?
I'm playing somewhat decent. And so that didn't happen. And then so the deal came on the table after the trade deadline. I was like, no. I think I've outgrown that now.
Right. Okay.
Personally, that's what I thought. I was like, I think I've outgrown that. Obviously, going to playoffs, Luka gets hurt like second to last game or last game of the season, and so he's out for the first 3 games, and I obviously did what I did.
Ain't no looking back.
And so that all happens. I'm trying to think of my timeline so I don't mess up. So we lose in the Western Conference Finals, and I remember seeing something on Twitter after the game. And it was like Mark saying, hey, like we can pay him the most money. And so he says that on Twitter. He says it like in an interview, like whatever, like literally right after the game. And so I'm thinking like, all right, I'm okay. I just after that, it was like crickets.
from my point of view, I can't speak to anyone else. Just from my point of view, it was crickets.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and obviously I saw like New York making moves and saw all that stuff. I was like, close to home, 2 hours away from where I was, or an hour away from where I was born.
Yeah.
Parents live on the East Coast, whole family's on the East Coast. So I started thinking like, this could be a real thing. And so then here we are.
Best move you made.
Best move.